Welcome everybody to the $10 trillion national. I could have paid off the national debt.
100%.
I chose to build this nuclear fallout shelter.
We're billionaires, baby.
Yeah.
That's right.
And also, reason to celebrate, the billionaire tax is off the table.
Thank God.
Which means that me and you will be sitting pretty in our bunker and our vac suits.
I was a little worried at first. I was like, oh no, is this going to happen? And then I started posting on Twitter immediately like, hey, once they start taxing us, they'll tax you as well. Just kidding. That wasn't me. That was Elon Musk. Where did that?
Where would this country be without billionaires being slightly less rich?
They're truly oppressed, marginalized community. Everybody talks about minorities, but the biggest minority of all, 700 billionaires that we're about to get taxed.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically an apartheid state we're living in.
Yeah. No, literally.
Of
But like the reverse of that.
Right, yeah. We've got so much to talk about today. Oh, so Hassan, just a little in the show note, Hassan is out of town next week.
Yeah, I'm doing a Twitch Rivals where this is like the first ever one that they're doing since COVID. And I'm going to be engaging in athletic endeavors.
Really?
Yeah, there was just like wild shit that we're supposed to be doing.
You should be doing pretty good, I think, then.
We'll see. I mean, I can't reveal who my teammate is yet, but like, we'll see. There's some really athletic dudes involved, like Cypher PK.
Yeah, some Twitch streamers are like weirdly fit.
Well, yeah, because they like it depends on how little they stream. If they stream like 4 hours, like once every couple days, and then they have a lot of time to themselves to work out, like Tfue and shit.
I mean, in a death match, you would probably win.
Yeah,
it was like a free for all death match.
Well, maybe
no
not
weapons.
with Tyler won. There's a couple Twitch streamers that
Tfue's pretty yacked.
No, not Tfue. Tyler won.
Tyler won. Oh yeah, he's scary.
He's insane. Like he's
scary.
Like he's the type of dude who could just like.
He's short, but he's got crazy energy.
I think he hit like a literal deadlift record or something.
Really?
Yeah, no, he's a psycho. I really respect him. I respect everyone that works out. Doesn't matter what their background is. Doesn't matter what they believe in, because that it takes a lot of dedication. So I respect them unconditionally.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for saying that about me. So much to get to today. The infrastructure bill that was, meant to be the greatest legislation since FDR's New Deal, meant to uplift the working class people of this country in a way that we've never seen before, is pretty much dying. Before we get into kind of more details about that, we do have some right-wing cringe comp I want to go over. For example, so this one comes to you from Rumble, which you know is good. Rumble is the right wing, basically the Twitter for pedophiles and Nazis, or YouTube for pedophiles
YouTube,
and Nazis.
Yeah.
So Dinesh D'Souza, who's like a shitbag, fucking dipshit.
The only man to go to prison for campaign finance violations in a country like America, where it's literally legal to bribe elected officials with contributions. This fucking dumbass did like straw donations and like actually went to jail for it.
Yeah, and people love him too. But with spicy takes like this, who could it? So during the right after the election, he says, next time someone asks for proof of voter fraud, show them this.
Before you start, fun fact about Dinesh D'Souza: used to date Laura Ingraham.
Really?
I think so. Or was it Ann Coulter? Fuck, I'm being,
That's a big difference, and I hate to say that, but I feel like...
No. Ann Coulter, I know for a fact that Laura Ingraham worked with Dinesh D'Souza in the college paper when they were both in Columbia.
I'm just saying, Ann Coulter and Laura Ingraham, big difference.
Yeah, no, I know.
Big difference, bro.
I think it was Laura Ingraham, though.
No, it looks like it was Ann Coulter, unless he dated both.
Ann Coulter makes sense.
She dated conservative writer Dinesh D'Souza, according to her Wikipedia page.
Oh, no, they dated... Nope. He dated both.
Did he really?
What?
He dated both.
This guy is the conservative playboy. What a legend. This guy's this guy is red-pilled as
He lays
fuck.
pipe. He lays pipe. You can see. Oh, God.
Based. So anyway, here... Oh, Shredder, you're here. Hi, Shredder. Hi, Alfredo. Welcome. The revolution is starting now.
Shredder, everyone.
The revolution is here. Hi. Let's start the revolution. Anyway, so here is the great thinker. Next time someone asks for proof of voter fraud, show them this. So let's watch this.
Now, one of those cases involved a woman who died in 2017. The I-Team's David Charnes looking into that. And David, you talked to this woman's husband.
Kirk Hartle's wife, Rosemary, who passed away 3 years ago. She is one of 2 cases of somebody who died on Clark County's voter rolls. They were sent a mail-in ballot, and that ballot was returned. The question now is, though, who voted for her?
It was disbelief. Just it made no sense to me.
Kirk Hartle said he was surprised when he found out his wife, who died in 2017, had sent in a mail-in ballot.
I was surprised because she passed away 3 years ago. I was surprised to even get that.
Rosemary Hartle died at 52 from breast cancer. Her name is still on Clark County's voter rolls.
Horrific. Somebody cast a ballot.
And since everyone in those rolls got a ballot, one was sent to Rosemary. But Kirk says a ballot never got to his house.
That is pretty sickening to me, to be honest with you.
According to ballot tracks, the mail-in ballot was sent October 9th and returned the day before Election Day. Clark County officials say Rosemary's signature is a match to what's on their records. Registrar for Elections Joe Gloria says any illegal activity will be flagged. Now, Keith
So this
Hartle
is
wondered...
disgusting.
So what happened actually?
So what happened?
Because like, there's no
was-
shot. This is where the story ends.
So what happened was that it was him. He's the one that voted for his wife, and he's fucking got arrested.
Let's go.
Yeah.
Brave.
So-
Hey, what do you mean, brother? He had to do it.
It
'cause
was
the
him. He
illegals-
voted for his dead wife. And so far, this is what I believe the only case of voter fraud, basically. That
In
we've got.
Nevada.
Yeah, in Nevada.
Yeah.
This is the one case that everybody was hyped about, saying like proof of voter fraud. Yeah, he voted for his dead wife, and now he was arrested. Let's see.
You know what's funny?
Last week, the state's Democratic Attorney General, working with Nevada's Republican Secretary of State, announced that investigators had cracked the case. The man himself was charged with 2 counts of fraud, voting more than once in the same election, voting using another person's name. He forged his late wife's signature to cast the ballot. She'd been sent, and he's been charged of felonies, each punishable by a prison term of 4 years and a fine of $5,000. So, in summary...
You know he's gonna have like a COVID lawyer, fucking, you know, one of those like QAnon lawyers like come in and defend
they'll
him.
go fund me like $1 million.
Yeah.
He was falsely accused.
I love that.
But-
I love that. He could have just like, he could have gotten away with it, very likely, if he just like shut the fuck up about it. But he had to go to the local news and be like, who's doing this?
The best part, read this title again by Dinesh, the great thinker.
Next time someone asks for proof of voter fraud, show them this.
How true it is.
Yeah. So
How true it is.
So there is, I don't know if you know this or not, but like there is no empirical evidence that shows that voter fraud is rampant. Numerous investigations have been conducted by both Republicans, Democrats, bipartisan think tanks. The only like fat study that was ever conducted that like Republicans love showing, which is the American Enterprise Institute's like 30-year track of like voter fraud, actually disproves that there's rampant voter fraud because they only found 1,200 instances out of billions of ballots cast over the course of 30 years of elections.
Well, yeah, and the thing is, you know, all these claims of voter fraud and them wanting to audit the systems and claims of hacking and all this weird shit going on the computer. Most of these elections are backed up with paper ballots.
Yeah,
like it's easy to check 1-to-1 and see that the software is working like 99.9% accurate.
Yeah, it's complete bullshit. And by the way, it's not unique to Donald Trump. People like to always say like, oh, Donald Trump did this, Donald Trump did this. Like, no, every Republican in perpetuity has always run on elections are fraudulent, illegals are voting. That's why we need to make sure that like, you know, we have extra voter security. And that's why they do like signature matching. That's why they do, you know, voter ID.
Yeah, it just gives
numerous
them
other things.
It just gives them space to throw out ballots and exclude people.
Exactly.
It's fucked up.
And their goal is to minimize the
and
amount
that,
of
my
people
friends,
vote.
is what a hog is.
Yeah.
You probably saw this clip.
I love this one.
Yeah. So this is Mike, or no, can't. So Mike is apparently a prominent right-wing pundit in the UK. Who looks like a hog.
Yeah.
And then he's
Michael Graham from the Independent Republic.
Yeah, so Cameron from this organization Insulate Britain calls in to discuss climate change with him. And it's the most flawless victory I've ever seen. And what makes it even more flawless is that the hog himself posted his own cringe.
Yeah, no, he thought he really did something here. I'm going to tie this back to the previous thing with Dinesh D'Souza. For conservatives, it does not matter if they get owned or not. Really? It literally doesn't matter because cognitive dissonance and like team sports mentality is so like permanently wired to their fucking dome that they see someone going up against like someone who's a leftist, so obviously a communist, and they think, oh yeah, my guy is winning no matter what.
Yeah, I guess I could see how they could write this off, but you watch and tell me. Here we go.
Morning, Mike.
Oh, hello. What are you glued to, Cameron?
Just your screen, unfortunately.
Unfortunately. What do you do for a living, Cameron?
I'm a carpenter.
A carpenter, right. So how safe is that for the climate?
Well, I work with timber, which is a much more sustainable material rather than concrete. I also
But you work with trees that have been cut down then, don't you?
It's a sustainable building practice.
How is it sustainable if you're killing trees?
Because it's regenerative, you can grow trees.
Right. Well, you can grow all sorts of things, can't you?
Well, you can't grow concrete.
You can. See you, Cameron. Cheerio. That was Cameron. He grows trees and then cuts them down and then makes things from them. Brilliant. Marvelous.
I mean, only in England or the UK could you. I mean, this is fantastic.
It's great.
But the total silence of our dear Cameron there was so endearing.
So
fantastic. But he actually gets committed to trying to prove that he's right. He does a poll. Is it possible to grow concrete? I don't know what the fuck that means. I mean, no, obviously.
I love that he tried to put it out there for himself, like, well, metaphorically, yes, right.
Well, yeah,
come on, chaps,
yeah, right.
Vote on this.
So he got some support there for sure, metaphorically. But then he goes, "Oh no, what I meant."
Oh, he had another guest on to like defend his idea or something.
Yeah,
it turns out that you can actually grow concrete, doesn't it?
Oh my God.
So he's going, no. What I meant was this super sustainable, cutting edge concrete growing rocks and turning it into something that nobody's doing. Is like highly experimental. He was referring to that.
Well, yes, if you can grow stone, you can effectively turn carbon dioxide into a variety of stone-like materials by feeding it in different ways using a variety of different processes. It's not necessarily fast.
Are you talking about because he said planting a fucking tree? I think we all know what that means.
Yeah,
that's pretty obvious.
I mean, everyone knows that concrete grows on trees, of course, which you don't plant. It's a finite resource. Dude, these guys are awesome. So British conservatives are fucking psychotic. Okay, right. A lot of people in America don't know this. Like, they think like British conservatives are great because like Andrew Neil, who's like literally a fucking vulture, owned Ben Shapiro famously one time.
Yeah,
but like they're all insane, dude. First of all, they still have lords. So much inbreeding. Won't get into that, but like they are just as hog-like as our hogs, but they also have like funny accents and really in a weird way are just like absolutely obsessed pathologically with the age of consent laws and whatnot. I mean,
they have for real. They
nonsense. Yes, it's a pedophile island over there.
Well, the age of consent in England's like 15 or 16, right? So
they're all fucking turfs and they're all nonsense.
Mission accomplished.
Yeah, and that's why we did Brexit.
No, they have great funny outfits too. English. English. Show me some of their funny outfits, would you please? 16.
Just funny, generally funny outfits.
Well, they have these secret English societies where they have.
Yeah, like David Cameron fucked a pig.
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
In Minecraft.
Yeah, get at me, motherfucker. We got parody laws up in this bitch in the United States of America. Freedom of speech. Have you heard of it?
Yeah, I don't.
Guess what?
I don't think that's incurring any lawsuits. I hope not.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily being done at scale yet.
Well, that's what I meant. I meant cutting edge experiment. We're growing concrete.
Yeah. No, I love
in the fundamentals of the process. You are correct.
Yes, thank you very much. Well,
thank you very much. I was correct.
That's all I need to hear.
I was correct.
It's going to be quite a long time before you can get a big enough tree to cut down to make into a house.
Hey, dipshit, you can fucking plant trees ahead of time. What the fuck, bro?
Yeah,
it took such an L. He's like doing a whole.
Also, we are not even having a conversation about like insulation, which is like Insulate Britain is. I looked into this after the interview, so I guess it did work.
Oh yeah.
So shouts out to fucking Mike over here. Insulate Britain simply wants to reintegrate like insulation so that revamp the way that British houses, which are really old for the most part, so that it's like way more energy efficient when you heat them. And that's it. It's like a good idea overall. The only reason why you'd be against this is if you're just like straight up like, no, climate change is not real. It's not a real problem, you know? Additionally ironic because they're in a fucking island, but hey, you know.
Yeah, so this I don't know. Joe Rogan's been on such a L streak lately, and this one really pissed me off as a father, with another one on the way. I showed this to Hila too. She was disgusted. Joe Rogan is going on the paternity leave is for beta pussies. And Americans should be working, especially the men. Also a little tinge of homophobia too. He's talking about how Pete Buttigieg shouldn't be on paternity leave, and only the person who gave birth should be on paternity leave, which is odd considering they're both fathers. And I don't know what's going on with Joe Rogan. He was just singing praises to Tucker. This is basically like a Breitbart talking point, and it's honestly fucking disgusting. Freak show going on over there. I mean, you're a fan of Joe Rogan, so do you maintain that position, or
I used to be a gigantic fan of Joe Rogan. I mean, I've hung out with him. He used to be like a big Young Turks fan. He used to come on the show.
For real?
Yeah. Huh. And then there was like a breakdown because of Sam Harris, who had like a different position on Islam, like a very antagonistic position against Islam, and then Cenk, who's also like otherwise like a very annoying atheist type for the most part, was pro like defending, you know, Muslims' rights in this country,
of course,
against like racial discrimination and whatnot. And there was like a big debate that was like 3 hours long. And basically after that, I think like Joe Rogan really just like sided with Sam Harris. And since then, he like, you know, played a fundamental role in the IDW, the intellectual dark web, and all that sort of stuff. And he's like truly moved away from that. But I still watch him every now and then.
Since he went to Texas, it's like his brain is just totally rotting.
Yeah. I mean, he's very malleable. He's very impressionable. I think like that's what makes him great for a lot of people. Like he's a guy's guy, you know, he's just like me, but also, you know, 100 millionaire and has like, it commands an incredible audience that he truly doesn't, I think, like care about misinforming, and which sucks. You know, what are you gonna do?
Well, this take is just fucking horrible. Here it is.
And it's what's crazy is that Pete Buttigieg during this whole time is on paternity leave. And you just want to go, listen, man, I understand it's hard to raise a child, but isn't that supposed to be for the person who gave birth?
Okay, so stop right there.
No.
2 fathers. So Pete and his husband adopted a child from a surrogate mother who basically gave birth. And according to Joe, if you're a gay couple, you are not entitled to any paternity leave. Your child you should never. Real men don't care about their kids.
Everyone knows that if you are a gay couple and you adopted, you can literally just leave your child and like, you know, just leave like, you know, little cups of water, maybe a sandwich.
Right.
Not even, fuck that, actually. You know, if you have like a 3-year-old or a 2-year-old or whatever the fuck at home, just leave the things that you can make a sandwich for and make the baby figure it out like a baby deer.
Well, this is day one shit, right? So day one is like, just leave the formula and the water and they'll take care of it. Joe Rogan, you don't, clearly I feel like this is proof that this motherfucker was not very involved with raising his kids at a young age. He probably
when you think about Joe Rogan, it's probably a good thing though.
What?
It's probably a good thing he wasn't very involved in raising his daughters. I'm just saying.
Yeah, we'll see about that. I don't know. Generally speaking, I think kids like having their dads around. Surprising. Kids need their parents. Surprising. And there's this whole theory in America still that these people are pushing is that dads should be going out and bringing home the It's weird because they're like, on one hand, men's rights. Men's right, men. What? Like the Jordan Peterson. What would we be without men?
Yeah.
You saw that? He's crying. What would I be without men building a that. But on the other hand, they go, men don't fucking need to spend time with their families. Yeah. When they're newborn baby. And gay men don't even get
this is literally a labor rights issue and also a men's rights issue as well.
Yeah,
and they're just completely
How is
missing
this not
the mark
a men's
on
rights issue? Well, anyway, here they go on.
Yeah, you're right. Now over 70 ships containing 500.
Yes, men can take paternity leave.
Yeah,
paternity leave is what men take. Joe Rogan, fucking brain rot Rogan, as opposed to maternity leave, which is what mothers take.
100,000 containers are waiting offshore.
There's 100,000 containers waiting offshore. We got men taking paternity leave.
Yeah. And it's like they're like upset that Pete Buttigieg is taking paternity leave.
If only
it's like,
Pete would have not taken time off to spend with his firstborn child.
I mean, I dislike Pete Buttigieg. I'm not a fan. Okay, CIA Pete Buttigieg, but you know.
Well, regardless of if you like him or not, the man,
exactly. Yeah. Like he can take paternity leave.
I think it's a bigger issue is that it's funny. Again, it's just so ironic. This is a men's right thing. Men deserve the chance to bond with their newborn baby, and guess what? Kids need their daddies too.
Man, there's research on it too. Men who take paternity leave are less likely to get divorced, which is a big problem for Joe Rogan. He's Mr. Divorce Court. Like that's what
Jordan Peterson. People are getting divorced. It's ruining our society.
Yeah. The real dragon of chaos is actually divorce court. Activist judges working in divorce court, working for communist ideals.
Yeah,
like alimony.
There's no fucking consistency in their thoughts.
Yeah.
Here is, by the way, a little refresher. What was this? The crying video? Yeah.
Yeah.
I love this so much.
What the hell are we going to do without men?
What are we going to do without men?
You look around the city here, you see all these buildings.
What the fuck's with the monitor, bro? It's like going crazy. Are you seeing it there?
These men, they're doing impossible things. They're under the streets.
That's just the video.
Oh, it is? It's like a filter? Okay, my bad. Yeah, but you can cut.
That's a sick filter, bro.
Okay.
No, I love the unironic, like, red pill knowledge account that's like posting.
Which is just basically a dude crying, going, what are we going to do without men?
Yeah. No, it's anyone else that cries, they're lame. They're whack. Jordan Peterson cries, brave. Also, you're engaging in what is known as toxic masculinity if you make fun of me for being emotional when I think about the hard bodies of men working in a hot summer
concrete. That was my gag, yeah. What are we, men with their beautiful bodies, working, getting chiseled?
It's like, I care about men, I do, and that's why I am an advocate for not only paternity leave, but like better wages, better workplace
conditions,
better workplace
vacation
conditions.
time, higher salaries. What are we going to do without men?
Yeah, it's like,
anyway,
he loves when men are exploited. That's why he's crying. He just wants them to be, exploited further.
I cry every time a man stays home with his newborn baby. He needs to be out there building roads, building skyscrapers.
From what I understand, Canada's roads are dog shit, so maybe they should be taking less paternity leave.
We're only 19 seconds into this rodeo.
But he was saying this negative feedback loop that is rapidly cycling out of control, that if it continues unabated will destroy the global economy. I'm like, that's a nice one to just slide in there.
Okay.
Yeah. It's complicated, but I do know the trucking stuff has something to do with it too, because there was already problems with truckers. They kind of abandoned California.
What does it look like 2 years ago?
Oh my God.
Visualization.
What a fucking, why? Why do you just say like a half truth? There's a problem with trucking. First of all, truckers are hella unionized in fucking California and they make bank. Like truckers and Teamsters, incredibly powerful union, a little bit of corruption there too, but whatever, they're working through it. But
come on,
truckers, they have a good union. Unionized truckers make a lot of money. They get good benefits. It's great. It's a great way to make a living. The problem with the trucking industry currently is that there's an item necessary for trucks to operate, that because of the microchip shortage is simply not available. So a lot of the trucks are in a state of disrepair as a consequence of that. And it has nothing to do with truckers being like, yeah, I'm going to Austin. Like, shut the fuck up. You don't know anything. You just like made that up. You're literally.
That's the whole circle jerk in that room, is that California's fucked and everybody's coming to Texas.
I fucking hate it when they do this shit. Like when they just take like a half truth that they heard from someone and then add their own seasoning and spin to it. It's like, shut the fuck up.
I feel like that's all that happens there these days.
Like the data they use.
So we're watching trucks
just
or ships come in.
Ships. You know, there's
just
like maybe
a couple
10.
ships. This is 2019.
And this is last week.
Why are there so many?
Because they're all
I mean,
stuck.
this is why.
Oh, that's why?
Pretty complicated.
Because
they're
they're all floating around out here waiting to find space to come into there to go wait, and they can kind of get in there. Like he said, if there's only 7 out of hundreds of cranes emptying them, then they're waiting.
It's nuts.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
And that's why we can't buy toys.
And it's also affecting small businesses.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Don't
just
forget about them.
It definitely feels like a clusterfuck. And I think
But who's responsible? Is this like people are blaming Pete Buttigieg
Yeah, it's Phil Pete.
because of the fact
Because
that he's
why?
on paternity leave?
Yeah. Yeah. If he wasn't on paternity leave, none of this would have happened.
He would be unloading the fucking. He'd be going to the Long Beach port and unloading
if
personally.
Pete was not being a deadbeat beta male caring about his kid, he would have he would have made the port be able to hold more containers overnight, something that would usually take 10, 15, 20 years. He would have got the microchips for the trucks. He would have
No, Pete's forklift certified. He could do it. These guys are longshoremen, stevedores, teamsters. These guys are fucking. They are literally like there is an actual labor shortage right now going on. There's a tight labor market. They have so much power. If it were up to me, listen. If any of you guys are listening to the Leftovers podcast, dude, now is your time. It is better than ever for you to just be like, that benefits package that you were looking for that's a little bit better, fuck it. You can ask for it. You could literally functionally stop the entirety of the United States economy. Like straight up.
Well, we're almost there at this point. But yeah, and also the demand is up. It's a very complicated issue, but like it's just
demand is up.
It's incredible to me.
We're in an asset bubble. Demand is up. Everybody's got money in their pockets and they want to purchase shit. And they are purchasing shit.
And then there's also issues where China was locked the fuck down because of COVID. They're still having problems because they keep it so tight, unlike America. If there's like a small outbreak, they shut the whole fucking port down. And so shit's backed up there at the export. Shit's back. It's kind of a global issue.
There's a container shortage too. That's another.
But the truth of the matter is that, there's a container shortage, is that Pete Buttigieg, if he wouldn't just not spend time with his newborn child, then we would be getting.
They're saying he's the Secretary of Transportation. Does that make any sense?
I'm not sure. I mean, that was a weird one because I never know in those stories. It's like, is this just like a partisan thing where you just want to like yell at the guy because?
But it is kind of crazy. He's on paternity leave.
It's not.
It is.
The craziest thing to me was the picture of them in the fucking hospital bed.
Yeah.
That's where I was like, women! Like,
Why?
it's just like, you weren't in a hospital. I mean,
so they went and got their kid from the hospital from the surrogate mom. And now their thing is 2 gay men in a hospital bed. Would you shit that baby out?
It's like,
you're not allowed in there.
Why can't they just like have fun? I don't understand.
Why can't they just be normal fucking parents? And
I mean, I've done this too.
Like everybody.
It's a little bit of homophobia, like the underlying component. That person might not be homophobic at all.
Big
like
time.
that, but you know what I mean? It's like it's without meaning to be homophobic. It's like one of those things where you're just like being homophobic, and then also misogyny too. Like The Rock, when he had a child, one thing that you do is you hold your baby and you want to do skin-to-skin contact with your child. I think it's like important. I forget why, but I did not know that either. So when I saw The Rock post about like his, newborn baby that he was holding, I was like, man, what did you fucking give birth to the child? Like, what the fuck? Why'd you do this photo shoot? And it turns out it's like actually an important thing. And that's misogyny. It's like, that's where that comes from. Where like fathers are not supposed to be, taking an active role in the development of their child in the early stages or whatever the fuck. It's like the underlying reason for that.
I feel like that caused more harm, like societally, than many things. Is that dads are meant to feel that they should be cold and fucking unavailable and unemotional and not invested in a child's life, especially a young child's life, which is absolutely fucked to the family dynamic and to men's psychological welfare who just want to love their kids and their kids just want to be loved by their dad. It is toxic as fuck and it's horrific, you know. If you want to talk about men and we care about men and we don't want divorce, like you said, I mean, that's it.
And it's like conservatives. The other thing is like people dunking on Pete Buttigieg. A lot of them are conservative and they're making this joke about like how they adopted a child. They didn't actually give birth to it, whatever. And it's wild to me because like, well, I thought you guys were fucking pro-life, you know, not Joe Rogan, but like a lot of these conservatives
we're
are
pro-life.
like,
but not gay.
But yeah, but like, you know, we don't want gay people.
I'd rather that kid. Oh, I wish that kid was aborted. I didn't know he was going to a gay parent.
Yeah. What the fuck? It's like, yeah, not like that. No, we don't want to let the gays adopt.
They're like, okay, if your kid was born of incest or we'll give him to the gays. Normal babies crazy. Go to heterosexuals.
Maybe I don't know if they were there for the
foot surgery.
For the birth, maybe the surrogate was, but it wasn't they were in the hospital.
They really think they went to like a hospital for a photo shoot and got in a bed. Like it's just fucking psychotic.
They were on the bed,
but I think they were doing that skin-to-skin contact that I'm talking about.
Probably. I haven't even seen the photo, but yeah, exactly.
But that is the reason why fathers do that.
Yeah, I mean it's exactly the doctors tell you to do it basically right after the kid's born.
Yeah, and they charge you a lot of money for it. As a matter of fact,
there's nothing wrong with this photo, guys. You know what? I'll tell you what it is. You go into a room, the surrogate's probably right next to them in another bed, and they're sleeping in that bed. That's what it was when Elon gave birth. You get your private room, and that's what it is. So there you have it. Oh, they got twins?
Yeah, they lied. They also lied and said that like he had like a breastfeeding thing. There's like a digitally altered image of people just wearing a breastfeeding device.
By the way, people do that too. There's honestly nothing wrong with it, especially if you're, two dads. Like that, I've seen it where dudes could get a breast. Yeah, exactly. It's a real product. Oh, that's such a shitty Photoshop too.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
So bad.
Yeah.
But again, like, what is the criticism here? Even if it's real, This is the man that cares about his child.
Pete Buttigieg gets fucking paternity leave in a time of like, a supply chain crisis or whatever. But like the Democrats are not advocating for fucking paid family leave for the American worker.
What's the criticism of the fake tit breastfeeding?
Oh, that I don't.
Beta.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, no. Who cares?
Yeah, exactly. No, I care.
Birthing table. Yeah, see, that's what's weird.
Yeah,
I would love that. I would love the breastfeeding thing for one of my.
But here's the thing.
I would want one of my homies to have that so I could suckle on their breasts. Take tequila shots directly out of my homie's breast. You know what I'm saying? Like that's. Fun stuff you could do with that. A lot of utility
for next week if you'd like.
Oh, a little breastfeeding.
Yeah, I will let you drip feed.
I'll do a breastfeeding, man, just to show that men can be sensitive, loving parents.
Yeah, put some cold brew in there. It's early in the morning.
It'll be a men's rights moment.
Yeah,
this will be this will be our red pilled moment. Can you get that, Dan?
Yeah, we'll see if I can.
I will suckle on your breast.
We'll call it the red pilled moment.
Yeah.
One of you should do that. One of you should take care of the children. Like this idea that both parents should get maternity and paternity leave at the same time is a little weird.
I don't think so.
Weird at all.
I don't. Only because
by the way, his guest keeps pushing back and he doesn't let up.
I have a German cousin and they get the shit. I mean, they get like a full year for the woman and 9 months for the husband.
That's great. You want to live in Germany? Because in America, you got to work. Like, here's the thing. If you have a small business.
That's such a fucked up thing to say. Like, yo, it's not like Germany's by the way, Germany is, last time I checked, is a pretty affluent country, and those people are not known for slacking off either, by the way.
Yeah, no, they're dying out there. They're not like America, a very productive country with like the only viable industry being weapons of war manufacturing.
Also, people didn't choose to come to America and not get paternity leave. You want to live in America, you better work.
That's so dumb. It's such a fucking silly thing for like a 100-millionaire podcast owner to say.
Yeah, because you could afford to take any time off you want, get all the help in the world. You clearly never fucking like spent time with your newborn kids based on this take. He probably has 20 nannies.
The thing I used to love about Joe Rogan is that despite like his affluent situation now, the fact that he like grew up in poverty in I think Newark, if I'm not mistaken, or in Jersey City, the fact that he grew up in a situation like that really motivated him to understand the perspective of other people who have been in shitty situations like that, and he could apply that to like even black people and numerous other like intersections of marginalization. And the more he's in fucking Texas, the more he like hangs out with Ben Shabibo and all these other fucking dildos, the further he moves away from that. It's so strange to see. It's like, dude, what
I
the
just
fuck?
wish you would have more left leaning people to challenge
Tulsi
him.
Gabbard.
It's annoying because I would like to watch him engage in a conversation with somebody that actually knows these issues.
Yeah, I mean he'll have like Abby Martin on every now and then.
Liberals.
He'll have Abby Martin on every now and then. He has Kyle Kalinske on every now and then. David Pakman.
When's the last time he had any of those guys on? Like,
I don't think
I like Pakman.
It was actually relatively recently.
Who? Which one?
Abby Martin. I think I saw.
Yeah, Abby Martin was recent.
Pretty recently.
There are some like leftist or left adjacent people that he has on that he likes personally, but even then, like, it's rarely ever contentious because, well, one, he's a chameleon. That's what makes him really good. He'll literally adopt to your position and like become a champion of it, with the exception of COVID misinfo that he spreads and like ivermectin and stuff. But other than that, he usually is like, yeah, that's right. Yeah, you know,
I see.
Yeah, we must seize the means of production. Actually, it seems like a good idea. And then next week he's like, yeah, workers should fucking get fucked if
By
they
the
have
way,
a child.
just for reference, Joe, if you want to live in America, you got to work Rogan. Time off for kids across 41 wealthy countries in the EU. The amount of paid leave for mothers and fathers varies substantially. Estonia crushing it. Where does this even go? This is 70 to 80 days. Here's the United States, by the way.
Those are
0.
weeks.
Oh, these are weeks?
Yes, sir.
Motherfucker.
Yeah.
Look at this shit. Even in Japan, these guys literally work themselves to death. People are killing themselves.
Well, there's a
because they
reason
work
for
so
that,
hard.
because they are not very pro-immigration, and their country is fucking dying. Like, they're so old, and they
people
want
work so much that they weren't having kids. The population in Japan is
they want to improve. Yeah, they want to improve birth rates. But yeah, look at all these countries in a state of disarray. Like economic meltdown happening in Finland,
Portugal,
Germany,
Chile,
fucking Poland, dude. Even Poland.
Greece,
Turkey. When you're getting lapped by Turkey,
Israel, by the way, which is not a working class utopia, Mexico, and then here we are, Joe. We care about men. We need men. Yeah, in America, you fucking give birth, a mother give birth, and if you haven't seen the process, it's fucking horrific. It's traumatic. You're hard on the body. You're straddled with a newborn baby, the most like precious and fragile thing you can imagine. 2 fucking weeks.
By the way, this is yet another argument for pro-lifers too. Like, if you have maternity leave and paternity leave, you're significantly more likely to carry a pregnancy to term, because now you're not going to suffer the economic repercussions of like
back to work,
having a
sucker,
fucking child.
Beta fucking male.
Yeah.
Figure it out. Yeah.
Just give birth on your lunch break and then come back.
2 weeks. You get you get 2 fucking weeks to be with your newborn baby, and then your ass is back to work. Wow, that's just that's crazy.
Well, states' rights, and that's another problem. Like, obviously, a lot of states have like maternity leave, or
California
even if it's not enforced, like a lot of companies offer it, but clearly it's not like. If that was the case, then it should be regulated to the federal level at the very least. It's a massive quality of life improvement. There are numerous, like, there's not a single study that's like maternity leave and paternity leave is bad.
It's ruining,
Yeah, that's never happened, and it never will happen. And we already have an incredibly productive labor force that
get to work. You want to live in America.
Benefits argument. It's so fucking annoying.
Yeah, and also like Joe Rogan basically when he says you live in America, get back to work. I mean, he's basically just simping for billionaires, company owners. Who at one point he says, "What do you do if you're a company owner and then all of a sudden one of your workers needs to take, 6 months off.
Yeah, Jamie. Like, what if Jamie has what if Jamie has a child? You're not going to let Jamie hang out with his child?
No.
It's fucked up, Joe. Let Jamie do that. Get someone else to pull that shit up for a week.
Your workers are not your property. They're not. Their life is not defined by serving you. I mean, there's things in life more important than work. I think it's time that we fucking acknowledge that in some small measure.
Yeah, that's how little benefits like the American labor force has, though. Like that, this is like a matter of discussion that is like beyond the scope of comprehension, where people are like, what, paternity leave? That's crazy. We don't even have maternity leave in this country. And it's like, yeah, that's an issue. Like, that's a major fucking problem.
Right. And who does that benefit? Fucking Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk, who are worth $200 billion.
Yeah. And I mean, small business owners as well, if they're fucking small business tyrants.
Well, the problem is the government needs to subsidize, the shit. Like, obviously, can all small businesses afford to float somebody for 6 months while they don't work? Obviously not. That's why the government subsidizes this shit.
Yeah. Well, don't worry. The government's not subsidizing shit. No fucking...
No leave,
no vacation time in the fucking infrastructure package.
Joe Rogan wins again. Yeah. Get back to work, boy. Yeah, Matt Walsh, by the way, my favorite. Matt Walsh has become basically my favorite psychopathic conservative. I follow him on Twitter, and it's like a daily occurrence. This is the guy who said the Inquisition was more justified than woke culture.
Yeah. It was brilliant, insightful analysis, and true.
So here's another tweet came out recently on the 22nd. A listener wrote to ask if it's a red flag that his fiance doesn't want to take his last name. No, it's not just a red flag. It's a deal breaker. Men, don't marry women who won't take your name. That's a wall of separation she wants to keep between you. It won't be the only one. So Matt here is saying, dump her, dump that beach.
Bro, if you're a Matt Walsh fan, and a woman agreed to be around you, let alone have sex with you, that's a keeper. Okay. Yeah, you don't get to make demands. All right. You're not like, oh my God, you're not gonna take my last name. Like, what the fuck? You listen to Matt Walsh, dude.
Yeah, I mean, basically on the first date, you should be asking, if we get married, will you take my last name? Because it's a deal breaker. If you want to do any of this hyphenated beta shit.
Yeah. Exactly. But this is what...
So shout out.
But this is what sticks. Like, look at that. 1,900 retweets. Like, that's what conservatives want to talk about more than the fact that, like, paid family leave was completely taken off the fucking infrastructure bill.
Get back to work.
That literally hurts them. That hurts them.
No, but there's people... It's crazy that people are openly saying, get back to work. It's America. Like, dude, who are you advocating for? Who are you advocating for when you say that?
No, you're a bootlicker cuck. That's why I always ask when people come in and they're like, oh, whoa, what the fuck? Like, you're wrong, actually. Workers need to fucking do more for their bosses or whatever. I'm like, listen, dude, show me the deed to your factory. You claim to be a capitalist, yet you have no deed to the factory.
That's not what your company can do for you. Ask how you can earn your company more money with no more wages and no benefits. This is scary, bro. This actually scares me.
No,
Tucker Carlson is stoking the flames of civil war. They love this. He's made a documentary on the January 6th, Capitol riots, and it's in full spin. He's made a full documentary about how it was a false flag. And basically, there was no conservatives there. It was all Antifa. It was a friendly tour, yada, yada,
I can't wait to watch this masterpiece. I'm going to be honest.
It's going to be good content for you, for sure.
Yeah. It
terrifies me. It actually scares me.
Yeah, no, it's wild that Fox News is doing what they did to Bill O'Reilly, which is like they made Bill O'Reilly the face of the network.
Yeah.
And now Tucker Carlson is the new face of the network. And unfortunately, that face of the network literally is just like, I am a populist, proto-fascist, or full-blown fascist, as a matter of fact. I'm a WASP nationalist, and I don't give a shit. I will do a straight-up InfoWars-style documentary on the January 6th insurrection.
Yeah, you got to watch this. It's terrifying.
What you're about to see is part of our soon-to-be-released 3-part series for Tucker Carlson Originals. It's called Patriot Purge. It debuts November 1st.
The Patriot Purge, baby. already off to a great start. The drums of war, baby.
Wait, pause for a second.
Straight up, this woman being killed in the trailer. Love that.
You know how there was like riot shields on the cops in the beginning? That was not happening on January 6th, okay? They opened the fucking floodgates, brother.
Yeah, I wish that was there.
Yeah,
This
if that
could have all
happened,
been avoided.
that woman would not have been killed.
Yeah, exactly. If only that was the true case, this documentary wouldn't even exist.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't this like Revolutionary War
drum beats?
Like, yeah, walking drum beats, marching drum beats.
Yeah, that's, well, you know, the other war that he's more fond of, the Civil War, he can't really openly side with, you know
He's
what I mean?
trying his best, man.
Yeah, he's
trying.
Yeah. Why do we not talk about the northern aggression against southern states that simply wanted states' rights?
Yeah. Was the Civil War a mistake? Should we have gone our separate ways back in 1860? And is it too late?
The domestic war on terror is here, is coming after
the Patriot Purge.
Half of the country.
No.
We're coming. Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Don't say no.
Oh, no.
Yeah, but, you know, lots of people watch this, so everyone's like, you know, this is so dangerous.
The worst part about it is, like, there are things that I do agree with that, like, I do think that the FBI has, like, taken a more, like, liberal turn with respect to, like, doing, I talked about this, I think, even here, like, with what happened with Governor Whitmer's kidnapping plot that they foiled. That was straight out of fucking post 9/11 FBI antics. Like, the way that they, like, agitated a bunch of hogs to, like, you know, and then showed them where the Tannerite was, you know.
Why
what I
do
mean?
they
It's
do
like,
that?
come on.
I just don't. What are they trying to do?
They do that for propaganda, justify inflating budgets, and whip people up in a fucking frenzy so you can continue the surveillance state.
They probably think it's fun.
Yeah, I mean, they did that with, like, autistic teenage Muslim boys back in the day, and, like, they would fucking, that's a good dub for the FBI, you know what I mean? Like, oh, we did it. We stopped another terror plot, and it's like, no, you literally started a terror plot and then stopped it. Like, this dude would have not done this. Like, you gave them the tools, you gave them the fucking radicalizing.
So you're saying you agree with the premise?
So I do think
the Civil War was a mistake.
Well, yeah, I agree with Tucker Carlson completely. Okay,
no difference.
Spencer Ackerman, friend of the show, he's a brilliant NatSec reporter. He actually wrote a book literally on this, talking about, and he covered the entire, you know, throughout the duration, like 2001 onward. He was always on Wired and you know, New Republic and plenty other outlets where he was agitational against the Iraq War and against the surveillance state and against the Patriot Act for understandable reasons. And he makes this comparison about white supremacist militias and white supremacist terror. He literally starts off his book, Rain, by talking about Timothy McVeigh and how different the way that we as a society analyze acts of white terror when it comes to domestic terror versus what we consider foreign entities like in 9/11. And there are similarities in the way that, like, the FBI is operating, but ultimately the reality is white supremacy is baked into all of our institutions, including the FBI. Holy shit. It's kind of the whole history of the FBI.
Starting to get into critical race theory now, boy.
Yeah, so it's not like they're never going to prosecute, like, 3%ers and oath keepers and like white anti-government extremist militias and whatnot in the same fervor that they persecute and prosecute and go after, you know, other groups, like even 70-year-old like Greenpeace activists. You know what I mean? Like, you just, it's not going to happen because it goes along with.
Isn't that what they did with the governor, with the guys who tried to kidnap the governor?
They did that. That was like a one-off for the most part, though. Like, the thing is, like, the January 6th insurrection was insane. Like, that was an insane fucking thing that happened. It's not normal. The fact that we act like that's like a totally normal thing and we've moved beyond it is ridiculous.
It's even worse. He's whitewashing it and making it turn into, it was actually the liberals that stormed the Capitol.
Yeah, no, I love that, actually.
It's fucking crazy.
No, I love that.
That's like propaganda.
Let's let it ride. I have a take on that because it's so funny.
Let's watch the whole thing here.
Yeah.
Have left Afghanistan, and and now they've landed here at home.
I'm sorry, it's so hard not to pause.
Yeah.
The troops have left Afghanistan and they've arrived here at home.
The helicopters.
He's like such a spin master.
Yeah.
I mean, the police are the ones being militarized against fucking protesters, not.
Yeah.
The police are not targeting conservatives. They are conservatives.
Yeah.
Have left Afghanistan, and now they've landed here at home.
And the left is hunting the right, sticking them in Guantanamo Bay for American citizens, leaving them there to rot.
We are dealing with an insurgency.
They couldn't find a white guy that they could waterboard for that one. They still ended up putting like a brown dude that's being waterboarded.
That's awesome.
Like you couldn't find a single white guy, dude. Come on.
Right.
Yeah.
Fair
well, are you
Sticking
saying
them
black
in
people can't be
Guantanamo Bay
patriots?
for American citizens, leaving them there to rot.
We are dealing with an insurgency in the United States.
Terrorism from white supremacy is the most lethal threat to homeland.
Yeah, why are you guys so worried about?
Why did they show the
targeting
KKK rallies?
Again, because he goes, white supremacy is the biggest terrorist group in the United States. And then Tucker's like, excuse me, white supremacists are good people.
Like, I don't understand.
I know.
I don't understand why he showed the KKK rally. Like, what's that supposed to mean?
The theory is that they're trying to paint all God-loving patriots as white supremacists. And therefore, they're coming for half of America.
There's a lot of them, for sure, but...
I mean, if you're worried that someone's going to call you a white nationalist, you probably may want to second guess your theory.
Insurgency in the United States.
Terrorism from white supremacy is the most lethal threat to homeland.
I've been told that I'm a white nationalist. Me.
I mean, that's fucking Ali, whatever the fuck.
Yeah, I mean, he kind of is, right?
Yeah, he like.
I mean, you don't have. I mean, it's
you
true.
don't. Yeah, you can be like a brown dude. I mean, first of all, he's got hella white supremacist genes at the very least. He's got the Habsburg jaw going and shit. Like he's got that. That's like straight white people shit. Okay, centuries of fucking inbreeding causes white people to some white people in the royal family to have like their very own Habsburg jaw genetic disorder. So that he does have that. Have you seen that motherfucker's chin?
No, yeah, he's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, you are, bro. Come on.
Yeah.
Me. There he is. Yeah.
God
Strong
damn,
jawline.
dude. God damn, dude. My dude looks like a royal, dude. He looks like
he's rolling the Austria-Hungary.
He's got that royal inbreeding, dude. Nice. Good for him.
They've begun to fight a new enemy in a new war on terror.
Not Al-Qaeda, white supremacy.
False flags have happened in this country. One of which may
This
have
guy
been January 6th.
really thinks he's making like a. God, what's the name of the guy who made the Transformer movies?
Michael Bay.
Yeah, he really thinks he's making a Michael Bay movie here.
I love that.
Which may have been January 6th.
This is disturbing, dude.
Yeah, this is straight InfoWars. The thing I was gonna say is, at the end, it's like, well, you know what a false flag is? Like, this is one of those. It's like, okay, here's the thing. If you admit that, then you're basically stating that what happened on January 6th was not a bunch of fucking patriots that were just simply exercising their right to, like, their freedom of assembly. Okay? So you're saying they did bad shit. So if the dudes that did bad shit were, like, MAGA'd up, you know what I mean? And they got fucking hella MAGA shit on, then you're saying that they were
Here's
bad.
what a false flag looks like.
Yeah. Yeah, look at all those Antifa, brother. That's right. Me and the boys, we went to the fucking Capitol. Actually,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and weirdly, all the people being arrested are like, yeah, it's coming out. They're all, dude. They've been so deep uncovered. They've been spending, writing MAGA conspiracy, QAnon conspiracies on Facebook for like years.
There was a new study that just came out that showed, well, it wasn't even a study, it was like leaked documents that showed like 18,000 3%er like Oath Keeper militia members, where they originally found out about the Oath Keepers to join one of these like groups. And I think like the top thing was Facebook. and then like YouTube. Like these are the places where they got radicalized into joining like these sorts of anti-government militias, right-wing anti-government militias.
Next one, Civil War Watch, comes from Charlie Kirk.
I mean, this ties perfectly into the previous thing that we were looking at.
Exactly, and this guy's obviously deep undercover Antifa as well.
No, he's a brave patriot.
He showed up to a Charlie Kirk, and again, this is here. I'll just play this. This ties in perfectly.
You ready? Yeah. You're brave. You're brave for what you say, and the fact that you stand up there and say it, and I appreciate it.
Yeah.
He's so brave, dude.
I'm confused,
No, this is good. This is
We all
perfect.
appreciate it, actually, because there's not a lot of people that have the balls to do it. But I want to ask you something a little bit out of the ordinary.
No one has the balls to say.
So brave.
Prepare yourself. At this point, we're living under corporate and medical fascism. This is tyranny. When do we get to use the guns? No, and I'm not, that's not a joke. I'm not saying it like that. I mean, literally, where's the line? How many elections are they going to steal before we kill these people? So,
Yeah, I love that. Let me clarify. No. Let me clarify. When do I get to start killing libs?
Yeah. He's right. We do live under corporate and medical tyranny and fascism, but always, of course, as the case with like right-wing commentary,
it's them.
His anger is literally misdirected and focused on
perfectly misdirected
the wrong things. Like we do have corporate fascism or medical fascism, but it's not because like everyone can get a fucking vaccine, or it's not because like Facebook, banned my profile when I said, I'm going to go out and kill people. Like, no, that's not corporate fascism, dumbass. Corporate fascism is like you not getting benefits, you being a more productive worker as a consequence of technological improvements, and yet not realizing any of the fucking profits that you generate for the company that you work for.
One of the things he cites is that how many elections are they going to steal? And it's, of course, the Republicans who are putting every effort into limiting voting and trying to actually overturn elections.
And a stolen election, like the most like hard proof of a stolen election in contemporary American society is the 2000 election in Florida, the Brooks Brothers riots. Like that was literally a fucking stolen election. Jeb Bush, George W. Bush's brother, the governor, and the right-wing slanted Supreme Court basically allowed, after revolts occurred, for Florida to not do a fucking recount. And they successfully stole that, and George W. Bush became president, one of the worst presidents, if not probably the worst president of all time. That happened. They did steal an election. They straight up stole it. And the other side of it, like voter fraud, individuals like on their own volition going out and like, doing electoral fraud or voter fraud in a systemic capacity has never happened. There's no proof for it. The only proof is the exact opposite, that it literally does not happen, because it's insane to get that many people to coordinate with one another. Like, who the fuck cares about the government that much? They're like, I really need to make sure Kirsten Gillibrand is a fucking senator. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to go do illegal voting for them.
Well,
Ted Lieu, like that's the reason why I, brought up all of my undocumented friends together and we stole ballots from the fucking, from the old folks home.
Well, the problem is like Charlie Kirk and Tucker Carlson, a lot of these guys, they have basically told people for so long that the election has been stolen, that these people are evil, that you're living in tyranny, fascism. It's like if everything they said was true, then violence would be justified.
Yeah.
So then all of a sudden, when
sure,
Charlie Kirk is confronted with the result of his propaganda, now watch how he reacts. But like, if you believe what they're saying, then, it's justified what he's saying, and that's what's so fucked up.
No, hold on. No, stop. Hold on. Now I'm going to denounce that. I'm going to tell you why.
Why?
Because you're playing into all their plans, and they're trying to make you do this. That's okay. Just hear me out.
They're trying to make you
started
do
with
this.
a compliment, so at least give.
Bro, but that's what I'm saying. He's
that
bitching
guy's
out.
like, no, motherfucker, you're trying to make me do this. You're the one who told me that they're stealing the elections.
Yeah.
Why are you backing down?
If you're living in a fascist country, he has a valid point, right? He believes you, Charlie. So tell him, when does he get to start using the guns?
That is the logical conclusion.
Yeah, exactly. He's right, Charlie. He's just listening to you. And, and again, they're all about the First Amendment. It's like, okay, so we got the guns. Second Amendment, sorry. We've got the guns. When do we use them?
Yeah.
That's why we have them,
Give me
right,
a little
Charlie?
bit. They are trying to provoke you and everyone here. They are trying to make you do something that will be violent, that will justify a takeover of your freedoms and liberties, the likes of which we have never seen. We are close to have, we are close to have momentum to be able to get this country back on a trajectory using the peaceful means that we have at us.
Seriously?
Yeah, no, if you fucking re-elect Orrin Hatch, that's how you're going to fucking win the war against the new Patriot Act against whites. You know what I mean?
This is what really makes me think Charlie Kirk is a straight up grifter that doesn't even believe the shit he says. Because if he did, they would all be fucking guns in hand overthrowing the government because the elections are illegitimate.
Yeah.
And that's it. What do you do? What do you do when the elections are illegitimate? You get your gun and you fucking, go to war.
The difference between that guy and Charlie Kirk is that that guy at least thought the arguments through.
Exactly.
And that's the logical conclusion of that argument.
One-on-one together. And Charlie's like, no, that's not what I meant.
Charlie, on the other hand, you can see him reboot every time this happens. He's going up the dialogue tree like a fucking NPC. He's like, what do I have for violent agitative propaganda? Yeah, you should vote extra harder. You should vote extra hard next time. I think that's how we win. But
he doesn't. He's just in it for the grift. He doesn't want the revolution. He doesn't want the violence. He just wants to keep making money.
Well, what violence? They already control everything. That's the reason. You know what I mean? They control everything. Conservatives and reactionary politicians. They control the fucking court system, damn near in its entirety. Even the liberals themselves are feckless capitalists who will defend Nestle's rights to have slaves and steal indigenous land and water supply. There's nothing. So that's why when you keep agitating, when you're already the dominant power, that's how you get to straight up brown shirt militia shit. You know what I mean? Because there's nothing to fight against.
Yeah, well, and notice how he doesn't say, well, that's psychotic. We don't want to go murder people. It's illegal and psychotic. He goes, no. We're not there yet. Just vote.
Means that we have at us. So to answer your question, and I just think it's, overly blunt.
It's overly blunt. When do we get to kill people?
The aesthetics of what you're saying.
Blunt.
It's not very civil.
It's just a little blunt.
Your bloodthirsty, violent rage is not very civil right now. I don't like it.
It's just if you would have perhaps said, when do we get to, start a civil war, then that would be fine. But just less specific, please.
Ones that do not play into the violent aims and ambitions of the other side.
They're violent.
Let me say this.
You got a good dude in your audience saying, when do I get to kill people? You fucking psycho.
Well, even then, it's the fault of the Dems. It's the libs that fucking, you want to own the libtards so hard that, ultimately, it's still the libtards that are responsible for this guy being no, I want to kill some libtards.
Yeah, they're violent.
They fear us holding the line with self-control and
no, I fear you with the gun.
Yeah, no,
that's way scarier.
No, I think liberals fear guys like that.
Yeah,
who
and
say,
by the way,
I'm gonna do a murder.
And by the way, at FBI, please fucking background check this motherfucker. Yeah, no, I'm definitely scared of
that's
you
the
guys.
off-duty cop, so probably.
Right, yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Board meetings,
sure.
they're the
never
ones
mind,
that
he's
are
too in
willing
shape.
to use federal force against us. And I know that people get fired up. We are living under fascism. We are living under this tyranny.
Fired up. This motherfucker said he wants to kill people. Damn.
But if you think for a second that they're not wanting you to all of a sudden get that next level where they're going to say, okay, we need Patriot Act 2.0. If you think that, Waco is bad, wait till you...
His argument, it's not even logical. what's this whole Second Amendment guns right bullshit about if there's no point to use it? He's saying, no. We never use our guns. It's just we're living in a society where the election is stolen every year. Nothing is legitimate and everybody's lying to you.
Also, does Charlie Kirk not support the Patriot Act?
Well, yeah, that's the wonderful part about that is that like these guys are now like they're libertarian, right? Even though they're not. They're obviously not libertarian because like he's like anti-weed, anti-choice. So he's not libertarian at all. But they love to adopt the aesthetics of like civil libertarianism, and he's like, oh, the surveillance state, it's just bad and wrong.
Conservative woke.
It's like it's good when it's against Muslims.
Yeah, he's talking about when it targets white dudes.
Yeah,
specifically.
See what they want to do next. What I'm saying is that we have a very fragile balance right now at our current time where we must exhaust every single peaceful mean possible. I will say this.
And then we shoot.
Like, what next? What more do you want, though? Like, do you like what does that guy want that someone else hasn't told him is the reason why he should be mad? You know what I mean? Like, from a political point of view, if you're like a fucking Republican voter, like you're getting pretty much everything. I mean, I guess like you just want to deny freedom and civil liberties to like marginalized people. That's the issue, I suspect, where it's like, yeah, I don't like that, black people get to, drink from the same water fountain as me. But like, other than that, it's like the guys that you're voting for, they get their agenda passed all the time.
Right.
Fat tax cuts, more war in the Middle East.
Well, their lives still suck, and they don't understand why.
Yeah.
Their lives fucking suck.
It's not the liberals, man.
They're broke. They're wage slaves. They can't afford health care. They can't afford insulin for their parents who are
That's not medical fascism, though. The medical fascism is when you get free vaccine for so you don't fucking die in a hospital.
That is what they're talking about, ironically.
Yeah. It's insane.
By the way, the tour is called Exposing Critical Racism Tour. So there you have it.
Yeah.
Well, he did expose it. To exercise the peaceful means of state sovereignty against the federal government. Not even close. I'll give you 5 things Idaho could do right now. The governor of Idaho could sign an executive order that says there are no vaccine mandates for private, for public, for anyone. It's not going to happen. He could do that right now.
I just can't get over the fact that these guys are ready to kill people over a vaccine mandate. Like, I just can't. I can't.
Number 2. The governor of Idaho could come out and he could say, okay, BLM, Bureau of Land Management, EPA, you're out. We're governing our own lands. We're in control of our own
territory. This is why you want to go to civil war over fucking EPA? I mean, it doesn't make any sense.
You're out of the state of Idaho.
No, it does make sense. It does make sense because that is the real goal of the dudes who's paying him. You know what I mean?
But these people,
the EPA's already gutted his shit, so they want to gut it further, I guess.
So here's what's keeping us between a civil war so far: vaccine mandates, environmental regulations. These are all things that greatly affect the working classes.
3. Idaho could pick and choose through the state legislature which one of the federal laws they think actually apply to the Idaho Constitution. These things.
I don't think that's how federal law works. What the fuck does that mean? Pick and choose which federal law applies to them? What the fuck does that even mean, bro?
Will push back against the tyranny you're talking about. A mistake would all of a sudden be getting into physical violent confrontation. You think that this regime has all of a sudden sprung into action? Wait until they get what they want.
Wait, pause for a second. So, like, the Voting Rights Act is completely gutted, right? So and a newer version of that got yeeted in the Senate because 41 Republican senators were like, no, we're not going to vote.
Black people
voting? We're not going to vote to allow.
That's our whole strategy.
It's not even just black people. It's literally like, making it a national holiday, a federal holiday to be able to vote. Like, that's in the provision. They even added voter ID into it. You know what I mean? The Democrats are so cowardly that they were like, yeah, sure, we'll put voter ID in there. Fuck it. Who cares? And even then, Republicans were like, nope, we're not doing that. And so what federal law was Charlie even fucking talking about with respect to like elections being stolen? Like what? You just want like Idaho? What? Like I don't get it. Like, well, what more could they want? It's just Republican state legislatures should be able to overturn Democratic results if they don't go the way of the Republicans. Like that's what I guess that's kind of what they're doing. They're kind of doing that in Texas. Like they're allowing the liberty to stay for Republican legislatures to be able to do that. So I guess that's what they want, maybe? I don't know.
Well, Don Jr. has the answers. Shout out to Don Jr., a favorite forever and always. Put out a
friend of the show.
Friend of the show. Shout out.
Good luck with all of that leftovers.
Thank you, Don. Guns don't kill people. Alec Baldwin kills people. Classy as ever. Don Jr., ladies and gentlemen. Can be yours for $28.
Wild.
You know, it's crazy how this Alec Baldwin made fun of Trump, and they're literally celebrating a poor woman who was accidentally murdered or killed on set. It's insane. It's actually literally insane. There's a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, no, it's like mass shootings happen, and Republicans are like, "Oh, it's fine, it's whatever." Alec Baldwin accidentally shoots someone, and it's like, "Whoa,
karma!"
Whoa. Yeah,
hey, they saying karma, like that woman deserved to die because Alec Baldwin made fun of his dad. That look when an anti-gun nut kills more people with a gun than your extensive firearm collection ever has. Yeah, fact check, true. That's Donald Trump.
Dude, he's such a epic poster, dude. Epic meme sauce, man. It's great.
Absolutely.
How do we say in English we're fucked?
Losers.
Oh, I guess that's a joke about how she pretended to be Spanish or something. Let's all watch Alec Baldwin blame the gun.
I mean, quite literally, this is an instance where, like, the fucking gun is responsible for it.
Well, I think it was the, it ended up being what you said, Dan, the second director or whatever fucked up.
The AD fucked up, and the armor, who apparently was like a 24-year-old girl who only got the job because of nepotism, because her dad is like a legendary armorer in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And this was her second movie ever. And apparently now it's coming out that even on her first movie, she like fired off a gun without any warning and almost blew out Nicolas Cage's eardrum as a result.
That's awesome that she got a job after that.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, what I read, who's the guy the second director or whatever?
The first assistant, it was the AD, first AD.
So the first AD is supposed to look at the chamber, inspect it, but they didn't do that, and they handed off the gun and said it was all clear. And I also read there was 500 live ammunition on set, which is pretty psychotic. Like,
yeah.
What?
Yeah, I mean, there should just never be live ammunition. Honestly,
yeah, especially when blanks look so similar to like regular ammo.
Yeah.
It just doesn't have the projectile.
Anyway, let's but like this woman is the victim, and so it's just pretty. Know the difference? Big pharma, big Parma. What, like Parmesan?
Big cheese.
I don't get big.
Saying he's got a big dick.
Oh fuck yeah, bro!
There's no better indication to me that like
is there pics of his dick out? Joe Biden's?
Yeah.
Oh, there are.
Oh yeah, he's a fat cock.
Is he? Is he got a hog?
Yeah, he's
big time.
No way.
Yeah, it must hurt Donald Trump Jr.
No wonder they hate Hunter so much. If he's got a big old hog,
he's got a big hog. He did.
You all seen his cock?
I saw the picture.
How did I not see that?
It was all over the internet. I'm surprised
he has a fat cock. He has sex with sex workers. He wants them to unionize.
Well, Donald Trump has sex with
he does
he has a weird shaped cock. So
he does the proletarian cocaine. None of that fucking highbrow shit. He does crack. Okay,
right.
And
he's working. Yeah.
Most importantly, his dad loves him. Like his dad, literally, Joe Biden loves Hunter Biden. Okay,
that's what hurts the most.
Yeah, Donald Trump does not love Donald Trump Jr.
So hold on, know the difference. Big pharma, big Parma. Still not understanding that one. Big karma. I mean, again, karma would insinuate that he died. And unfortunately, you're ignoring the fact that a woman tragically lost her life with a family like 2 days earlier.
Yeah, they don't give a shit.
It's crazy.
Wow. Hey, lots of big dad memes.
Guns don't kill people. Alec Baldwin kills people. Can you imagine wearing that?
Get yours today.
How? Just imagine wearing that. Man.
This is a pathetic fucking... He's like a pathetic person. I don't know how else. He's like sad. He's such a sad, pathetic fucking loser. And every moment of his life is pain. You know what I mean? I mean, seriously, every fucking moment of that dude's life is pain.
Some breaking news I figured you guys would want to hear about. The announcement is in.
Oh no. Facebook's rebrand.
The new Facebook.
The metaverse
is Meta. It's Meta as fuck. Announced 20 minutes ago. They're trying to distance themselves as much as possible from the
So,
name
but
Facebook.
wait. It's still called Facebook, though. Isn't that just like the
Right.
parent company?
I guess, yeah.
It's like the alphabet
Yeah,
thing.
the alphabet Google
Yeah, who gives
shit.
a shit?
Exactly.
Meta.
Yes, because they want to really lean into the whole augmented reality thing.
It's not
which-
happening.
Yeah.
Sorry, Zuck. The new meta would be nobody using Facebook. That's my perfect new
That's
meta.
a new meta. Yeah, that would be a great meta.
Fucking hate Facebook and everything it is.
Yeah, that's it's disappointing. They should have gone. They should lean into the patriotism. Oh, Jesus.
Patriot book. I mean, at this point, it's really just a right-wing shitting grounds anyway.
Yeah.
Patriot book. All right, let's get to the main story. Build Back Better is falling apart. Hit me with that shit. Hit me with that regular schmegula. Here we go. Could be better, Bill. Nice.
Pretty good.
Biden announced, we've been working on this $3.5 trillion package that would revolutionize American working life. 2 years of free community college, paid family leave, prescription drug price control, universal non-means tested child care plus tax credit. At this point,
You're reading everything that's taken off the bill.
yeah, I know.
Yeah.
this is what the good stuff that we were all looking forward to. And of course, the billionaire tax.
Remember when everybody was like, Joe Biden's going to be the next FDR? Like, is Joe Biden the next FDR or is he better? And then on the Republican side, they were like, Joe Biden's a communist. He's a communist. He's doing Chi-Com shit. And it's like, yeah, no, it was so obvious that it was never going to happen.
He tried, unfortunately.
No, he could have fucking done way. I mean,
What can he have done?
Okay,
because you have Joe Manchin and Kristen Sinema, and it's like these motherfuckers are not moving an inch.
First of all, they set an unfortunate or a ridiculous expectation that the bill was going to pay for itself. It was going to be a net zero bill. But they had some good provisions in there to be able to do that. One of them was pharmaceutical price negotiations. Medicare was going to be allowed to negotiate with Big Pharma when they're doing mass purchases of pharmaceuticals. And that would greatly reduce the cost and allow the government to keep like hundreds of billions of dollars over the course of 10 years. But of course, immediately Kirsten Sinema and also secretly Bob Menendez decided against that. And there's plenty of other senators that were also against it too, because they're in the fucking pocket of Big Pharma.
The government cannot negotiate the price of prescription drugs that it buys millions.
We're the only country.
Imagine how cucked we are. In any private sector, any public sector, you can negotiate bulk prices. You can negotiate the prices for fucking strawberries on the side of the road if you buy enough. You know what I'm saying? Like the window is open. But somehow we are and also we have the highest, no prescription drug companies knowing that we can't negotiate prices in bulk, we have the most expensive prices in the world too.
Yeah.
We are absolutely fucking cucked.
We allowed
Silly.
the VA to do that recently, only recently in the past 5 years is the VA allowed to even negotiate. And that was fought against as well. Like they didn't want
I would like to know the rationale. I understand that there's lobbyists and they get fucking, all these nice treats from them. How do they justify publicly voting against that?
Steven Crowder does videos on this.
How? What's his rationale?
So the rationale behind reactionary people that get their talking points from the American Enterprise Institute and numerous other think tanks is that America is subsidizing the rest of the world's lower pharma prices. We're actually taking a fat L so that, we can be as innovative as possible. It's all fucking bullshit, okay?
So
a lot of that
they're saying we need fucking massive money to fund research. Otherwise, nobody
bullshit. A lot of that is just publicly funded research.
So pathetic.
That they purchase, that Big Pharma literally purchases the patents on, and the novel chemical compounds, when you look at that, because that's what you need to, that's at the heart of the matter, novel chemical compound creation, right? When you look at novel chemical compounds, the United States of America, of course, makes the most, but that's because it's one of the fucking largest countries on the planet, right? And if you look at it per capita, when it comes to like new novel chemical compound creation, the United States is not number one in medical innovation at all. In a per capita conversation, it barely cracks the top 10. And that's fucking bullshit, considering the reality that the reason why we have this to begin with was because we're paying 10x the price for insulin in comparison to Canada.
It's disgusting fucking freak show that Crowder can actually, people like him can actually go out and argue that, and then people believe it. I mean, it's sick fucking. And the problem is, these people are gonna destabilize society. We just can't keep operating like this, where people are like these pharma executives are probably making billions of dollars a year, and
like Joe Manchin's daughter, who got a 600% raise after she cranked up the prices of EpiPen when she was at Mylan. Cranked up the prices of EpiPen by 400%. That's why she got a 600% raise, dude.
Genius.
Who
could have thought of that?
I want to jail all of these people. Democrat, Republican, doesn't fucking matter. I want their children to go to jail. I want them to go to jail. I want them to be under the fucking jail. It makes me so angry.
So you agree with the guy? It's time to use our guns.
Like, obviously not. It's not time to use our guns. But violence is a constant in any political, violence is literally the distribution, or the distribution of violence is literally at the heart of politics. So people that say that like violence is never occurring, or you can have like a truly nonviolent movement, or that violence is non-existent in like Western democracies are fucking delusional. Every time a cop bashes a protester's skull in, that's fucking state violence. Okay? You just are conditioned into thinking that that's normal. When someone throws a tear gas canister at protesters, when the cops do that, that's not violence. When you use a leaf blower to blow back that tear gas at the cops, that's considered violence. Yeah, one side doesn't get prosecuted for it, the other side does. But that's
it's like
different conversation.
It's just sad, bro. You know, like, we just want to negotiate the price so that we're not overspending hundreds of billions of dollars into literally just to enrich like a few handful of rich executives.
Yeah, well, it's not just a few handful of rich executives. They're all publicly traded stocks. So a lot of these companies are like enriching the top 10% of wealth in the United States.
By the way, did you know, I read this recently, 95% of the stock market is owned by like the top 0.5% of people.
That's what I was talking about. No, not 95%, but the top 10% of wealth in the United States of America own 85% of the stock market. So they realize all of the benefits of the stock market. Other people have like, a 401k, if at that.
Yeah, and they go, what about your 401k? It's like, yeah, I mean,
that's it.
You make a lot more money just from having good benefits and Social Security.
And as always, when the stock market is doing well, it does not trickle downward. It's just only trickling upwards. It's centralized at the top. But if it does poorly, then you're fucked. Because the losses are always socialized, whereas those
guys always get out too. Yeah. The guys at top, who are savvy, know what the fuck they're doing. Insider trading.
And it's disgusting. And there's so many different parts of this. There's so many different components of this infrastructure bill. It's bad politically to have this like super long and convoluted process. Similar thing happened in the ACA negotiations under Obamacare, under Obama, where Obama had 60 Democrats in the Senate. And even then there was some people that were spoiling it, you know what I mean? And that's why we couldn't get the public option. And they negotiated basically against themselves for no fucking reason whatsoever and watered down the ACA, which is originally a heritage foundation policy that was first implemented by Mitt Romney in Massachusetts. So even the fucking program that they brought forward as Obamacare, which helped a lot of people, certainly, and had really popular provisions in it, like the pre-existing condition coverage and all that, that was still a right-wing answer to socialized medicine that, 10 years later, 20 years later, Democrats were championing, that Republicans immediately were against. So it's really fucked up. And the exact same thing is happening here with the infrastructure bill. We're selling it as infrastructure. This is not really infrastructure. It's human infrastructure. That's what they're calling it. So because they want to market it to the hogs. And it's necessary stuff. Medicare eligibility lowered to 55, not happening. All these provisions for childcare tax credits incredibly popular. 70% of the country wants it.
Dude, it would pull 50% of poverty-stricken children out of poverty.
Yeah.
Immediately.
And that number is like 12 million, if I'm not mistaken.
It's horrific.
Nuts.
And, free community college, which would be just an incredible boon for especially, poor working class people. So once you do 2 years of community college, you can get into a university pretty easily. And as we talked about before, paid family leave, which Joe Rogan, only betas want that, so that's not a problem.
that was supposed to be 12 weeks originally. That was negotiated down to 4 weeks, and then now it's an opt-in program that workers have to pay for out of pocket if they want to even do it.
What's the point?
So it's not even coming out of the government budget. There's no subsidies offered to it. So yeah, now we've said no paid family leave, no tuition-free community college, no meaningful climate provisions, because that was immediately yeeted.
The climate permission was really interesting, by the way. It was really cool. They were incentivizing companies, power companies, to convert to green energy.
Which they're doing already, by the way.
They're doing it at about 2% a year. They wanted them to do it at 4% a year. And if they were able to hit the 4% goal, they were going to pay them a bunch of money. But the interesting part was they were going to punish companies that didn't make that change by charging them money. It seemed like a fantastic program that was completely struck down.
No carbon tax even, which is like the
carbon
most
tax
neoliberal,
would be amazing, but
most neoliberal fucking argument for climate change. Is just like, you can't even do that. It's crazy.
So they're saying
no vision, hearing, dental, prescription drug, no vision, hearing, dental for Medicare, no Medicare eligibility lowered. Again, 90% approval rating for lowering the Medicare eligibility down to 55. Okay, we're not talking about Medicare for all. We're just improving the pool of people that are covered by Medicare, which ultimately is less costly for the government in the long term.
You think so? Because that's really expensive, Medicare, to lower it from 65 to 55.
Yeah, well,
so how do you pay for that?
You pay for it by taxing people.
We don't believe in that here.
Exactly. And no vision, hearing, dental coverage. Again, incredibly popular. These are voters, by the way. These are fucking voters. Voters want this. The people that actually vote are old people.
I
with
love
capital.
that vision and dental is not considered necessary medical shit
for old people. Vision, hearing, and dental.
Awesome, bro.
Yeah,
awesome. Vision and dental and hearing is not. Yeah. What the fuck is?
Now they have means-tested childcare. It's not universal anymore. So now if you, instead of making $60,000, if you make like $65,000 in fucking New Jersey or in a place that's like more expensive, you're no longer eligible for childcare. That sucks. That's such bullshit. That means-tested programs like that also develop a lot of anxiety and a lot of frustration among the working class, because then they're like, well, I'm paying for it, I think,
too much,
but I'm not getting any of that. Well, they're getting it. What the fuck?
Yeah, and I mean, if you know how expensive childcare is, like $1,000 a month, for one kid, that's like a reasonable price. That's not a super expensive one. So, if you have two kids, you're looking at $20,000 a year easily. If you're making $65,000, you're fucked, basically.
Yeah. I think the progressives should vote no for this. I think the progressives should destroy this bill.
Yeah.
100%, because this bill sucks.
Well, what's the benefit of destroying the bill?
When you say no, when you actually ever say no, and progressives unfortunately are too kind and too like they actually operate from a morality point of view. And if you're like thinking about this from a morality point of view, obviously the best thing to do is harm reduction no matter what you can get, right?
Mm-hmm.
So knowing that, and also knowing the reality that, like, if you do stand against this bill, you will get fucking destroyed by the media in a way that Joe Manchin and Kyrsten Sinema, or the rotating villain, as they call it, in the Democratic Party, will never get destroyed. They're fearful of like standing against it and truly saying, I don't want this bill now.
But what's the benefit of just saying fuck this? No, like, who does that
because
benefit?
Next time around when there's another negotiation, your side, which has more numbers, by the way, technically, supposedly the Progressive Caucus is much larger than the 6 congresspersons or 6 representatives and that were
When's
like
the next
against
time,
it.
Though? I mean, when
it doesn't,
when will there be a next time?
Well, there's always a next time. They have to pass legislation. So
yeah, but like the next time it's going to be stacked Republican after the midterm, and probably even the presidential.
well, even this passes, still stacked Republican. This doesn't pass, still stacked Republican. The only way that there's like a serious recovery for the Biden administration is if he like either federalizes or decriminalizes marijuana at the federal level, or just does a massive by executive action, and he has the legal circumstances to do this. Like he has the legal power to do this. Abolish student loan debt. Like something major before the midterms. Other than that, he's fucked, dude. We are fucked.
Yeah.
Republicans are coming no matter what. Like, no matter if this passes or doesn't pass.
Yeah. So the one of my favorite things, so basically the two most fucked up in my opinion, prescription drug prices, the fact that we can't all agree to fuck these douche fucking evil pieces of shit and negotiate down life-saving drugs like insulin. The other one is the billionaire tax shut down by Joe Manchin, a tax on 700 people who are basically paying 0%. These people pay 0% tax on their money.
For the record, for those of you who don't understand this concept, billionaires and millionaires, CEOs especially, like they don't make their money off of income in the same way that like the average citizen does, or even people like myself do. Like I get paid off Amazon, and that's my yearly income that gets taxed by the government at the end of the year. These guys actually get stocks, so they get paid in like stock options, and what that means is you can park your assets and your wealth in its entirety in the stock market, and you can even show losses, as a matter of fact, if you'd like to. And if you ever need money, well, you have endless amounts of leverage because they look at like what your stock portfolio looks like, and you're a multi-billionaire. You can literally go to a bank and be like, I want to borrow against my endless amount of leverage. And they even give you like super low interest rate.
You know what's awesome?
Super low interest rate loans, and you fucking buy, borrow, die. That's what it's called.
They end up paying the bank more at interest by far than they pay the government.
Yeah.
In fucking taxes. So the banks are essentially collecting any small amount of tax that the government should be getting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean.
And this is not even a loophole, I would say. This is literally the way that the system is designed.
Yeah.
So going against that and saying like, no, actually, you should be forced to liquidate some of your assets if you can't pay a certain percentage of your like year over year like net revenue gain or your wealth gain. And people were very frustrated by it. There were so many people in my replies being like, well, these are unrealized these are, this is unrealized wealth in the stock market. Like it sets a really scary precedent. It's like, no, it doesn't. It literally does not. You're fucking psycho. First of all, you're not in the top 700 people of wealth. So this does not concern you. Shut the fuck up. But secondly, you do that already. Like you have a house. Okay. If you have bought a house, there are people that come, look at the fucking property value of your house, and they tax you on it.
Not in California, by the way, but most states have appreciation tax. But here's the thing.
They could do that. They could have like quants and fucking mathematicians sitting at the IRS and literally looking at like calculating what your gains look like in the stock market.
I was reading about a lot of people like in Washington where the real estate prices are going up because, the property value is going up a lot. And people who've been living in their house for 30, 40 years are basically being forced to sell their home because they can't afford the property tax because it goes up every year. And so if that person's got to deal with it. Here's the thing also, there was a provision in the billionaire income tax that allows you to write off losses as well. So there is a mechanism that because it's kind of fucked up to be like, okay, let's say Elon Musk is worth $200 billion because the stock market had a crazy year. So he's got to pay like $20 billion in tax or something. And then the next year, the stock goes to half. And now he's only worth $100 billion.
I hope.
You're praying for the downfall?
Dude, I should be so
You just want bad things to happen to him?
Oh my God. It's not even bad things. I just want like It's not a normal stock market. Anyway, go on.
Yeah, so if the next year his company is worth $100 billion, and shit like that does happen, especially with a company like Tesla, then there is a strange area there where it's like all of a sudden he paid $20 billion in tax, and now his company is worth $100 billion, or now he's worth $100 billion. It is a strange kind of inexplicable gray zone there. But if you can write it off, I guess that gives you some leeway.
Yeah. Not only that, but also what is deeply frustrating about this concept is that we have regressive taxes, right? We have plenty of regressive taxes. Sales tax is a great example of this. A regressive tax taxes the working poor or the working class more than it taxes wealthy people. Like, it hits them harder, right? You never have like a TV show. This is what David Dane was saying from the American Prospect. You never have like a fucking news show where we're talking about like a new sales tax where it's like, up next, we're going to hear from the janitor that is going to talk about how this new sales tax is hurting his productivity. And like, because the reason why we don't hear about that is because, like, one, we understand that, like, of course, taxes are necessary to, you know, build roads and whatnot and infrastructure. And the other reason is because we don't hear from the janitor because the janitor doesn't own the fucking media company. The people who own the media company, on the other hand, are the ones who are like, yeah, fuck no, we are not doing this. And I don't know if you pulled up the Mitt Romney video, but
yeah,
I really love this like counter argument that Mitt Romney put forward.
So just a little background though. So for example, Jeff Bezos' salary is $80,000. So he takes out loans on his stock and he essentially pays no income tax. The law would apply to people earning over $100 million a year.
Yeah.
Or households that are worth $1 billion in assets for 3 years. It would apply to about 700 people. It works by taxing unrealized gains. For example, if Jeff Bezos has $10 billion in Amazon stock over a year and it becomes $11 billion, the $11 billion would be taxed at around 20%. So even by that...
No, it's even less. If it was 10 billion and it raised to 11 billion, it would be a $1 billion gain. And so that gain is what would be taxed.
Yeah, that's what I thought I read.
You said 11.
Right. So 1 billion would be taxed at 20%, which, by the way, I pay 50% income tax.
That's the thing that's
So
like
it's
really
way
frustrating.
fucking less already than most people are paying.
Yeah, that's the thing that's really frustrating. It's not just you either. Like, when you look at, like, I mean, look, it wasn't that long ago when I was making, you know, $60,000 a year in the state of California. And like, when you're doing that, the percentage of like your revenue that you have generated, your net revenue that you've generated over the year without like thinking about your, you know, things that you're paying for, like your housing and all this stuff, like the percentage of the entire revenue that you've generated that is taxed is gigantic in comparison to a fucking billionaire. When you look at that, that's like billionaires are paying like 0.001%, whereas most people, like most average Americans, are paying like
30, 40,
such a larger fucking chunk of their like overall wealth.
If these people, so for example, just the 10 richest billionaires alone, if this tax was applied to them, would generate nearly $300 billion per year.
10 people would generate $300 billion.
Do you know what you could do with $300 billion a year? And that's just 10, you know, we're talking about
That's
700.
like a percentage of our military budget. I mean, holy shit.
Yeah, and so, you know.
More guns.
That's like at least 10 fucking F-14s.
Yeah, well, yeah, depending on, yeah. Not a F-35, though. Them shits are expensive.
Maybe 2 of those, yeah.
Yeah.
That makes a difference, I'm telling you.
There was a billionaire that was very upset about this, and very publicly so.
Yeah, so Elon Musk.
Segue? Yeah, you want to segue into that?
So Elon Musk has been vocal against this, poor billionaires. Let me see here. This economist projected that Musk would owe up to $50 billion in taxes during the first 5-year stretch, and Daddy Bezos would owe $44 billion. Elon Musk is not happy about this, and
he'd still be the richest man in America, by the way.
Well, of course. Who else? I mean,
or in the world. Sorry, not in America.
Daddy Elon been having a good run. Yeah, so here this guy says, for U.S. citizens opposed to the unrealized capital gains tax proposal by Senator Ron Wyden, here's an example of a tactful and diplomatic letter template I made. You can use it to by the way, he tags them. CC Daddy Bezos and Elon Musk, please. Yeah. Please, Daddy. Yeah, so these fucking boot-licking simps.
I mean, he is a CEO himself, so he's at least a little bit closer to becoming a billionaire maybe than others.
But so imagine these guys want working class people to lobby their Congress members to not raise taxes on 700 billionaires. Listen to this shit. I expect you to oppose Wyden's proposal to tax unrealized capital gains. Although the proposal targets billionaires and not myself, the government of elected representatives have a track record of scope creep. I don't know if that's actually a thing.
I know what he means. He's saying a fancy way of saying slippery slope, which is a fallacy,
right. But so a scope creep when writing new taxes.
He's like, you guys are not doing taxes for me, but like, you know, maybe you could, and that's scary.
You could be taxing the working class unrealized gains.
Yeah, dude, totally. Well, they do. It's called the capital gains tax. They already do that because the working class cannot park all of their fucking wealth in the stock market.
Capital gains is when you sell the stock, though.
Exactly, but that's what I'm saying.
But that's not unrealized gains.
Not unrealized, but like, you know what I mean? They already tax the working classes.
Yeah,
like
we pay
portfolio.
money when you try to take that money out. These motherfuckers don't ever take it out. In fact, the whole idea is to die with the debt so that even then their inheritors don't ever have to pay the tax.
Buy, borrow, die. That's how it fucking works. But the reason why I said that is because like the working class already does get taxed on the fucking stock market movements. Like they already do that because they don't have the fucking endless sea of wealth.
The joke being that the fact that this guy thinks that first they came for the 700 billionaires and then next they came for your untaxed. It's like, dude, no. I anticipate that any new unrealized capital gains tax will slowly make their way down to the middle class retirement investments over the next several years. It will start with the billionaires. And then it's always like they came for the Jews first and I didn't say anything.
Yeah.
Then they came for the blacks and I didn't say anything. Next they came for me and there was no billionaires left to speak for me. And eventually millionaires. Then the modest investments will get hit possibly within a decade. Although principal residence and holdings in 401k plans apparently will be excluded, the Wyden proposal takes new tax hikes a step closer to imposing unrealized capital gains tax on average investors.
Like, shut the fuck up. That's not what's going on.
Yeah, exactly.
I hate this. Jail this person. Throw him in jail. I mean,
get the guns.
You post like this, you throw him in jail, okay? I swear to God.
You know, it's like, sure, you can have any fantasy you want. It's like,
Dude, I mean, this is the argument, and it fucking works. This is
how you. It's not a real argument. That's not what's happening.
I know, but
this law is literally about taxing billionaires. It's like, it's insane. I mean, it really strikes at that very common Mark Twain quote: is that every American just sees themselves as a temporary.
It was Steinbeck.
Are you sure?
Yeah. And even then, it wasn't actually Steinbeck. It was just like misattributed to Steinbeck most famously. Yeah. It's socialism will never work in the United States of America because the working class do not see themselves as an exploited proletariat, but temporarily embarrassed millionaires.
Yeah, exactly. Which is such a cliche, but I mean, you see it every day.
Yeah.
In shit like this. And like, how are you not pissed the fuck off that working class people, like, okay, I'm rich, right? I pay 50% taxes. If these motherfuckers, these 700 guys were paying 50% taxes on their income, then we'd be all good.
Yeah. Well, not income, technically. You don't understand. These are not liquid.
Right.
These are just simply assets. You're punishing someone for being successful.
They don't have $100 billion in the bank account. What don't you understand?
It's just, that's how taxes work. I hate that, like, the concept itself literally is like different for billionaires. Like, we act like if you could not pay your taxes right now, okay, you get hit with a bill at the end of the year, okay, you would have to liquidate some of your fucking assets to pay your taxes. Okay, but when it's liquidate some of your stocks, exactly. But when a fucking billionaire does it,
spent all the it's like the IRS being like, all right, you owe us $1 million. They'd be like, sorry, bro, I bought a bunch of cars.
Yeah, it's like, oh right, shit, dude. What are we gonna do? Oh no, they won again.
Sell some fucking cars and pay your tax. Yeah, listen, I may not be a smart man, but I know that billionaires should be paying more than like literally zero. Elon Musk in like 2008 paid $0. Anyway, here's Elon Musk's response to this bootlick. This guy's literally bootlicking him. And
I mean, first of all, it is kind of cool that he was able to write with an entire boot down his fucking throat. Like, I don't know how he's breathing, let alone typing that fucking letter to a congressperson. But
Elon saw the simp signal and responded. Exactly. Eventually, they run out of other people's money, and then they come for you. Let's worry about that after we get your money.
Why are they running out of money? Maybe it's because they're subsidizing your bullshit fucking company that makes exploding vehicles. That's what fucking it makes me so mad about Elon Musk is that like he literally would not be a person without the government teat. Okay, which I don't even have a fucking problem with, especially if you're subsidizing like green energy initiatives and whatnot. But like Elon Musk has always taken advantage of EV credits. He's always taken advantage of like SpaceX itself is literally a otherwise publicly funded fucking publicly funded institution.
This argument
that is now privatized by Elon Musk.
It doesn't make sense. Listen to this. He says, when they run out of other people's money, then they come for you. That implies that we have any of your money. We have none of your money. The government gets none of your money.
And then we, as
literally
taxpayers,
0%.
are subsidizing his business. We are, as taxpayers, subsidizing his Monzi team, allegedly.
We're short on time, Dan.
No, I was going to say it's not literally 0%. It's 3%.
Well, that was in the last year, but there was a year in 2018.
In 2018, he paid no federal income tax, but between 2014 and 18. His true tax rate was 3.2%.
Yeah, I paid 50%.
Yeah.
Here's more. Elon Musk is such a fucking douchebag, man. And not only this, he really fucking pissed me off with the COVID shit. He was on Twitter telling people not to worry about COVID. It was the flu. Yeah, he says it'll be done by April. Well, he was real fucking quiet now. 700,000 Americans dead.
No, I mean, don't goad him. He won't shut the fuck up. He will start talking again because like there's no accountability. He has a fucking army of stands, like whole ass adults that like think we're going to the moon. Every time he fucking posts something, it's like Shiba, Elon, my Shiba ass.
It's Stockholm syndrome. I mean, I don't know how else to describe it. It's like this is your oppressor. Anyway, he says,
this is my favorite.
Brilliant
guy, by the way. So
US,
smart.
Here's another Elon one. The U.S. federal debt GDP was 56% in 2000. Now it's 126 and climbing.
Why were we spending so much money? What happened since 2000? Numerous times. Well, there was another 2008 too. This is so stupid. We fucking control the entire planet's currency, dude.
Like, now here he's complaining about. Keep going out here. Just send me the link so I can navigate. Here it is. I've got it here.
Dude, I love that he starts talking about the national debt. It's like, dude, first of all, your entire business relies on the government subsidizing.
Wait, hold on. Let's go in order here. According to their own estimate, this tax only covers 10% of the 3.5 trillion spending bill. Where does the other 90% come from? The answer is you. Okay. Well, even if
not true.
Let's just say it's true. I still want the government. I want the fucking 350 billion. Who cares?
Yeah, it's fair.
Let's say it's true. The answer is you. Okay, fine. I still want your 350 billion.
I mean, it's fucking fair.
Dude, I don't understand. They live here. They use the infrastructure. We make their incredible businesses possible. Do these guys really think they're entitled to pay zero taxes? They pay nothing. Nothing.
Yeah, I mean, they do think that they're entitled to pay zero taxes because they're productive and they're job creators, and you should be grateful every single day that Elon Musk is here. And a lot of people, unironically, believe that bullshit. I'm going to be honest with you, okay? And I this is like a way that I explain the concept to my friends. It's like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, these people, these billionaires, they are like demigods. They're kings, right? in prior ways that we organize society, we had theocratic monarchies, and the peasant class justified the existence of the theocratic monarch because they said, well, God put him in that position of power, when it's obviously not the case. Now, under capitalism, these people have exactly the same level of fucking power, okay? They have the exact same level of power. There's the exact same wealth disparity that exists between the peasant class and, you know, the monarchs, right? And now our justification for it is meritocracy. This lie that we've told people that, like, under a capitalist organization of the economy, if you're fucking Elon Musk, that's not because you, like, fucked enough people to get to the top in the way that Elon Musk did, but actually because he deserves to be there because he's the hardest worker and he works, you know, 3 billion times harder than the average American, and you know, he deserves it. He deserves all of that.
Listen, I'm not opposed to the whole notion of meritocracy, but that doesn't exclude someone from fucking having to pay taxes.
No, look, hard work is important, but like probability is still a major factor in the way that these people become as successful as they are. So in a situation where there is no true equality of opportunity, there is none in America. There is no equality of opportunity. Especially true if you look at it universally, especially true if you look at it worldwide. There's no fucking equality of opportunity if you're born in Bangladesh. You know what I mean? Like, where's the equality of opportunity there? It doesn't exist. So because there's so much probability, I think governments internationally should provide at least a base level of material support as best as they can to ensure that, like, you at least get education, shelter if you need it, food if you need it, you know what I mean? Clothes on your fucking back. And an opportunity, true opportunity to have a meaningful existence where you maximize your productivity and creativity.
Elon can tell himself whatever the fuck he wants. I'm just saying he needs to pay his fucking taxes, this piece of shit.
All right. Yeah,
Let's keep going down. U.S. national debt is $29 billion or $230,000 per taxpayer. Even if taxing all billionaires at 100% would make only a small dent in that number. So obviously the rest must come from the general public. This is basic math.
How does a CEO who engages in buy, borrow, die not understand the concept of debt and like how
nobody's saying work? Pay off the whole history of the national debt. We just want you to pay some fucking taxes, bro.
Yeah. And
that's
the national debt, the percentage of that is like, Chinese owned is like 4%.
Yeah, it's all owned by Americans.
Yeah, it's still owned by Americans. So like, shut the fuck up.
This doesn't. Who gives a fuck?
Also, you want to know? You want to know how you tackle the debt? By fucking taxing billionaires.
Yeah.
By taxing people who don't pay taxes.
You know why? Because it's, dude. This is so fucked. By the way, he's linking usdebtclock.org.
It's just so stupid.
Bro, what are you doing about the debt? You're saying that me giving you all my money would make a small dent, so I'm not even going to give you any of my money.
No, I love that. I love all of these. You know what's funny about all of these fucking websites? The US Debt Clock or like, these Debt Watch, budget hawks, these deficit hawks. They rarely ever talk about defense spending. Like, they'll put it in there.
This is a fucking nightmare.
They'll fucking put it in there, but they're like, that's like discretionary spending. It's not a big deal.
Dude,
come on, let's not talk about that.
This is where he linked.
There's a mobile app, dude. If you wanna be a fucking pathetic loser, get the mobile app.
Yeah, and I mean the whole notion of debt is like such a fucking stupid concept because, again, like you said, debt. These motherfuckers know about debt. Debt isn't such a bad thing all the time because sometimes you can get money, buy shit, and make more money with that money. Like when you invest in infrastructure and jobs and shit like that. When you wasted bombing fucking civilians in Iraq, it's probably not a good investment.
Back in 2015, LA Times wrote an article about Elon Musk's growing empire being fueled by $4.9 billion in government subsidies. So that's where the government is spending their fucking money on Elon. So what the fuck are you talking about? The only reason why you have a business is the fucking American government. Holy shit. So that's one aspect of this that's like additionally hypocritical and hilarious. And then also the other side of it is just like how laughably unaware he is, or I guess he's being deliberately obtuse here, where he talks about like the U.S. national debt and like paying off of it in its entirety. And not only that, but also like, refusing to examine that like taxes are a necessity. Is he like fucking zero? Is he like a zero tax guy? Is he a libertarian? Like full blown?
It's fucking pathetic. It's like that he's trying to drum up fear of working class people having to pay taxes. It's fucking pathetic, dude.
Yeah,
I used to like this guy, man.
It's just straight reactionary bullshit. This is how Republicans sell the ideas.
So in 2015, Elon paid $68,000 in federal income tax. In 2017, he paid $65,000. 2018, he paid $0 in federal income tax. Between 2014 and 18, he had a true tax rate of 3.27%. So,
yeah, spending is the real problem. Yeah, we should just cut all the fucking subsidies.
Hey, guys, it wouldn't make that big of a difference if I was paying taxes. Come on.
Yeah. And also,
yeah, but you're right. Is he saying nobody pay taxes? Because that might be a problem for you, buddy.
Yeah, exactly.
Joe Manchin, who shot down the billionaire tax, gave this rationale. I know we're short on time, but this is all good stuff here, guys. This is the Democrat.
I don't like it. I don't like the connotation that we're targeting different people. There's people that basically they've
I don't like targeting different people unless they're Iraqis with a drone strike.
Well, he doesn't like targeting different people. It's like, dog, that's how taxes work.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what the fuck? They're just describing the concept of taxes and being like, this is a scary thing. It's like, no, motherfucker. You target people who are avoiding taxes, okay? The way
I don't
that the
like
tax code is currently
targeting the
written,
people. I like to just I just like to throw shit out there and see what happens.
Zero constituents of Joe Manchin are billionaires, by the way. No billionaires in West Virginia. 30% of West Virginians actually are on welfare. So,
that's just what I don't get. I just don't fucking understand.
Scumbag, dude.
It's such a fraud. This whole thing is such a fraud. Our elected officials are representing 700 people, while the vast majority of the rest of America can't pay for fucking childcare, can't pay for health insurance, can't pay for insulin.
His state is very poor.
And it's just such a fucking shit show, dude.
It's nuts.
There's people that basically they've contributed to society, they create a lot of jobs,
They
and
created
invest
a
a lot
job.
of money and give a lot to philanthropy.
They don't have to pay taxes.
Yeah, philanthropy did.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's another way to fucking, do some nice little tax avoidance by using a 501c3. Bill Gates, like, good guy, he uses put all of his assets in philanthropy. His fucking net worth grew from 30 billion to 100 billion.
Yeah, by the way, Elon Musk recently, on the same day he made that tweet, made the most money in a single day of
$35 billion
in the history of humanity. He made $35 billion in one day after Hertz decided to buy a bunch of Teslas and the stock jumped up.
Yeah,
on the same day.
Normal stock market, by the way. Normal stock market where...
35 billion in one day.
Yeah, your fucking single person's wealth grows by $35 billion.
And the same fucking day, he went to Twitter to bitch about taxes.
Yeah.
Here, by the way, COVID hit us pretty hard, right? Hit most of us pretty hard. Mark Zuckerberg looks like he double or quadrupled his net value. Bill Gates, this motherfucker doesn't even work anymore. He's been retired.
Philanthropy. All that's going to philanthropy. Thank God.
For a philanthropist, that dude makes a lot of money.
Yeah. Again, he went from 33 billion. I think he had like 33 billion when he decided to launch the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, and now he has 124 billion.
That's crazy. He's not giving out money fast enough.
Yeah.
He needs to give money out fast. He needs to give money away faster. He's making too much money.
Yeah.
$150 million spending spree. Wow.
Oh, such a good guy.
He's
What
like
have you done? Nothing, right? Exactly.
Well,
we've done nothing.
$150 million is 0.4% of how much he made in one day from that Hertz sale.
People would say, well, 150 is better than nothing. But a lot of people would say, why are you shitting on a donation shaming?
Donation shaming.
Yeah,
because it's not about the fucking donation. Charity and philanthropy demonstrably has not fucking solved all of the problems that we currently experience in the current organization of the fucking economy.
So you're saying instead, it's crazy how Elon Musk can buy like a good headline for 150 million when technically he should be owing the government like $50 billion in taxes.
Yeah. but because we're all fucking
and
suckers.
so we all simp for Elon. Like, he's such a good guy. He gave $150 million. No, he ripped us all off.
And then they turn around and they're like, how much have you donated? What the fuck? You haven't
a lot
donated
more per capita than him.
Yeah, but it doesn't even fucking matter.
A lot more per capita than him.
Because that doesn't solve the problem. The problem is literally tax avoidance is built into the tax code for billionaires and millionaires and corporation owners to be able to just fucking avoid and skirt all of these, all of the same percentage of taxes that like most normal people pay.
Yeah. So here's how all these guys did in COVID. Elon Musk crushed it. Was it like a ×5? Bezos crushed it. You know, so all these guys are having the time of their life. Most of these billionaires actually 50% or more increase their net worth in last year.
It's just fair, dude. That's the only way to look at this is like it's unfair that they are not subjected to the same like percentages of like true taxing.
Bro, listen, I'm not opposed to raising taxes on myself. Yeah, I pay 50% tax. I think that's a lot. If we decide I need more, I need more. But until these motherfuckers are paying what I'm paying, then I don't know why. Like, what are we doing raising taxes on people like me and the middle class? Well, whatever. I can afford to pay more taxes. But it's like you're avoiding the real fucking problem. Me paying more taxes is not going to do anything when you can be making $300 billion a year, getting 20%.
From 10 people. That $300 billion number is from 10 people.
Yeah, from 10 people.
That's fucking insane.
It doesn't make any sense.
It's so fucking gross and so insane. I don't have a problem with like fucking raising the top
tax. I don't give a
top marginal tax rate. But it blows my fucking mind. It blows my mind that like this level of wealth disparity is literally manufactured, and yet people don't get upset at it. Well, some do, but they don't get upset at it enough, and then they forget about it, and then they get mad at like other people. They're like, "Oh, well, fuck you." I'm sure there'll be plenty of comments saying
people
like,
can be mad
two rich guys talking about fucking more rich people paying taxes.
Exactly.
It's like, I don't care. You can fucking tax me more too, okay? I'm an advocate for that.
Tax them the same as me, and then raise all of our taxes.
Well, if they tax them the same as you, fucking then
there'd be no jobs left.
There would be no problem.
That's what I'm saying. If these guys paid 50%, then we'd be living in a utopia. Our cars would be flying, and
the thing that
I've had robot VR sex machines.
Yeah, the thing that is like also something that people forget is that like the top marginal tax rate was fucking higher before Donald Trump, and the very same people like Kirsten Sinema have literally voted against that when they weren't in a position of power. But when she is actually in a fucking seat of power, she's like, no, fuck no. Of course I'm not going to increase the corporate tax rate. That would destroy the economy. Yeah, the economy is so fucking destroyed.
We're way over time.
I could talk about this for 7 hours.
This shit is like, it's going to ruin our country. It might even ruin.
It has.
It might even ruin civilization as we know
it has already. That's why there's so much
and it's
poverty.
Like we have this chance now. Tax the billionaires, and it's self-defeating. These billionaires are not gonna. They're not gonna fucking unless it ends up like a Fallout situation where they have their own, secret organizations and stuff. It might be like that.
I got thoughts on that too. Someone's got to fucking run the bunker. You know what I'm saying? It's not gonna be fucking Jeff Bezos wiping it, fixing the toilets.
$100 billion ain't gonna mean shit, and when there's 20 people living underground in a bunker. That's true. I mean, paper money. You listen. Even in Fallout, they use bottle caps as currency. That currency you wipe your ass with.
Tunnel snakes are coming for you, Jeff Bezos. That's right.
Rad roaches, baby. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. The Civil War starts now, and remember we have that Second Amendment for a reason, boys.
That's right.